world of Alan, a great war between the continents of Ebros and Algesh is forcibly brought to an end by the Tempest, a cataclysmic storm that rages over the surrounding oceans, a divide which serves both as salvation and doom. The adventurers known as HYDRA seek the means to control the Tempest, but can they unite against adversity on all sides? Can they repay a debt to a friend?
We're back with another session recap, and it looks a bit different today because my other camera app doesn't seem to work, so we're doing it through OBS today, and we'll have the screenshots going on in the background here. Before I do, though, continue with the session 49 and 50 recap. I know they deserve their own recaps, they're very good, and 50 is quite a big number for the campaign. I kind of just want to get everything kind of wrapped up very quickly because I've left it way too long, and I want to just go over the key parts, so unfortunately a lot of the jokes and japes will be missed. Before I do begin, though, I will just say to Wizards of the Coast, don't do that again. So, session 49. We rejoin the festivities in Azunis Cavern, where there's a handful of games and some feasting going on, but we decide we're too pooped to do anything else. We've locked in a long rest, and we keep our distance from the other people, as people grant us the courtesy of not disturbing us. As we wake, people are getting ready to leave by packing up, and we do the same, following a nice breakfast with the children dealing with a hard sugar crash. Azunis greets us. Ah, good morning. Looks like we're ready to get ready. Looks like we're getting ready to set off. He insists he'll be able to pull. When we ask him how he'll, if he's going to be okay with getting on the ship and whatnot, he says, well, I insist that I'll be able to charm anyone who would object to me boarding the ship. And I ask him if magic is really necessary, and he seems disappointed that it may not be needed. A gentleman approaches and asks if we'll be joining the caravan, and I suggest that it would be best so that we can better detect and redirect the sandworms if necessary. He winces at this knowledge, telling us that travel is always safe here in the dunes of Nevasium. The only Devar is the waste itself, not any unknown inhabitants. But whatever has happened, something seems to have set the balance of nature. Azunis suggests perhaps there is a shift in the weave. Ragnar casts commune with nature, along with his sand-saying abilities. Every grain becomes acutely aware of its surrounding with bits of detail. He searches for influence from other planes, powerful magic beings, and creatures lurking miles beneath the sand. Where am I? He feels something is charged, but not agitated. The earth, wind, water, and fire are all around him, slowly swirling together in harmony. It's a background hum he can feel, something tangible and there. Something that he can always feel, but is now also more active. He reaches out of the realms. To the south, there's some kind of movement. Some kind. People moving around. That's the extremity of 3 miles away. Quite a distance from himself, he feels animal life, a vast presence underneath the sand that appears to be further to the south as well, but doesn't appear to be near him. He's not sure if it's staying toward him or going around in a circle or what. He feels planar influence all around him, imbalanced and unusual. Ragnar asks Azunis if there's any folk to the south. He looks across the dunes. I have heard the whispers of things moving in the desert. The devouring wastes to the south are, well, they belong to no man. As far as I'm aware, it's exceptionally inhospitable there. There's creatures that lurk there, but people, I am not sure. He points to the east. That way lies jungle, forming somewhat a jungle between the kingdom of Ostergarth. John, Paul, and Ringo, the desert beetles, scuttle away loaded with goods for the party. We leave Azunis' lair behind one more time. Azunis looks at us all intently. So, how did the four of you end up travelling together? It must have worked for him some time, referring to Professor Volmac, or indeed Volmacathran. Rakanar announces that he was found from a young age, and that Volmacathran is a newer friend than Professor Volmac. He was given work and requested his assistance when called upon. Ah, he's a fan of you humanoids. Azunis smiles. Always the sentimental chap. It would be interesting to see him again, although it's worrying he's getting more involved in events. He always said he'd prefer to observe than take part. And I tell him that evil succeeds where good men do nothing. And Azunis nods, suggesting it's an interpretation. He says evil is the fire of a volcano, or the drowning of a sea. Draconians really evil? He ponders silently. Our travels are relatively quiet as we approach Navasium. There's waving with flags being unfurled, and eventually the arrival is met with a little bit of fanfare. Various children and family groups get off their beetles, and everyone embraces one another. I'm looking through the crowd, and I roll Perception 25, the highest of the groups. There's some in the back wearing red robes. Now, people in Navasium, a desert city, are going to wear robes because it helps prevent sand getting into the more finer parts of or the more accessible parts of clothing and whatnot. Keeps the sun off them, makes it nice and cool, and also catches a lot of the dust. But these robes are strikingly familiar. As they shift in the lights is the briefest glance of a pair of lizard-like glowing yellow eyes. I tell the boys, red robes, and approach stealthily. 21 stealth for me, and natural 20 plus 1 for Rigsby. Rakanar whispers to Nero and tell him to be the eye in the sky. As he takes a look, he's swole. He's muscular, he's grown twice his size, and he recalls what the children said. Look at the friendly rock! Not rock as in Ogren rock, as in woe rock be upon you. But that's woe rock be upon you. But rock as in, well, we'll find out. There's a little bit more to him. You see, Nero has a connection to the elements, or so it appears. There's so many people here. Why can't you just build your nest far apart and never talk to each other? That's how we do it. We don't have any problem. Nero says as if trying to avoid the conversation. Rakanar knows his size, and Nero squats. I'm just big boned. I'm proud of you. But this is for a later discussion. Nero acknowledges this and rolls perception. Rigsby and I move carefully through the crowd, able to get through the clamour without raising suspicion. Rakanar tells Azunis that the Draconians may be here. Azunis questions this, but he's with the boys, approaching steadily. Rakanar rolls 8 stealth to maintain an element of surprise, but he's a mountain of muscle, unable to get through the crowd without causing alarm. I sneak out of their line of sight and look at them. There's no discernible features besides the eyes. They're ordinary height and build. They're mostly watching Rakanar, thankfully enough. The figures are starting to back off, one whispering to the other. I roll 14 stealth to get Rigsby to head them off as to where they're going. I take them around a corner. I see them a little bit further away, double backing towards the docks, to the Astral Phoenix. Rakanar and Nero move closer. He takes a pouch of coins and says, Sir, you dropped this! Various passerbys stop and turn, but he barrels past them, grateful the half-orc barbarian isn't bearing down on them over monetary matters. One of the figures turns their head toward him. He doesn't need to roll for this. He sees a lizard-like eye staring back at him. They turn down another alleyway, where there are some market stalls that aren't used yet, only to set up for the evening market. He gives chase, rolling athletics 22. He catches up, they bolt, running into an area filled with market stall frames. Most are at the main gate of the city, but these two clearly have other ideas. As he runs in, the two are stood motionless in the market stall. Rakanar rolls perception 19. He's not exactly sure how he got here, but there's no one else here, which is unusual for a city this size. Nero searches for us, Nat 1 plus 9. You can see Rakanar, but nobody else. Bad news, Bob. I'm with them, Rakanar says. I don't understand. I'm the master hunter, not you. Zachariah watches and follows, but he's just a bit behind Rakanar. Rakanar keeps up with the deception. The figure turns to him, stops, and says, "You have taken much from us, Sir Rakanar." There's the barest hint of a serpent's tongue from beneath the hood. Rakanar takes the pouch of gold and throws it at his head. "Oh, pouch be upon ye!" I've got here. And we roll initiative as Rakanar spinballs or spin pouches the coin purse and deals 6 damage to the left-hand wrist figure. And they reveal themselves to be Draconic Dreadnoughts, as well as other assassins joining as well. And we eventually... come here along. Not to mention just Trag, Bozak, and all the rest of them appear as well. And I use the Mantle of Inspiration for the first time, which is really cool, so I get people to get a bit faster. The command word Betray was used as well, and that got rid of the one of the monsters as they walked out. So yeah, it was a tough fight. There was lots. I'm not going to go into all the details, but it was a very tough fight, and lots of health was lost. Even Rakanar took a beating from that one. I think. Oh, was it Rakanar or was it Tak was like really, really weak and like Tak like Rakanar was like, I'm alright. But anyway, yeah, so everyone's healed up. Eventually, Azunis manages to catch up after this combat. Full of cheers, he regrets being pulled from the celebrations. Why are you running? There was so much. Oh my word. Draconians. But this is a city! It's supposed to be safe here, I tell them. And I tell them that cities, borders, allegiances, they don't matter to the Draconians. This may have been a distraction. So we go down to the Phoenix. The Phoenix is sat in the water by a dry dock with figures moving around on the ship. We roll perception to figure anything out, and Rigsby rolls 26, wags his tail, and doesn't seem to growl. Azunis watches them and observes that they are G.E.E.S.E. Rigsby trots along with me aboard them to see them loading supplies, with Ignis checking general admin and Malachite directs the supplies. Nero's 90 perception sees nothing out of the ordinary. Seems some of them have been bartering. Rakanar boards and takes no chances. He checks each room and rolls 15 investigation and 21 survival to see if there's anything out of the ordinary. He finds nothing bad, but he wants to keep vigilant. "What's going on, Rakanar?" asks Ignis. "It looks like you've been through absolute hell, though you're just trying to seek out some culture." "Trouble seems to find us wherever we go. We're looking for stowaways, is all." A mocking expression turns to stone and not Stanley. "We're already on it. Please check the crates to be sure." He does. He finds rations and treasures, and one crate in particular seems to have a false compartment. He calls over to us and opens it, finding wine. Malachite says, the locals are tetchy about alcohol, so we had to sneak it in. I hope that's alright. So, I ask Azunis if Azunis can come aboard, and he's welcome aboard. "I can't wait to feel the waves beneath my feet, and I breathe in that salty sea air." Ignis asks us our routes, and Azunis is sure what we mean about the mountains. Aren't we in a ship? "First time," asks Nero, chuckling to himself. "Those dragons think they know everything." Rakanar finally feels his weight on his shoulder. Nero has grown greatly, and he's having to use strength to maintain the eagle on his shoulder. He flexes his wings in magnificence. We consider our next plan. We want Freyrgate and the Royal College of Magics, but we need to mind Greasemold. The crew and the heart are fully rested and able. We move and take a direct route. Azunis tightly grips his side, and his polymorph slightly ripples as a hint of tail slips through his robes. "Ships aren't supposed to fly!" Nero's cackling as he sounds, "Seems like you dragons really don't know everything," as he glides alongside the ship. We short rest as Rakanar takes a nap while I maintain my equipment. Takavria watches over the deck. 16 perception. He sees 2 Ostagarthian flying squads approach. As if receiving the message simultaneously that they were on our way, they turn back, and he catches up with Ignis. "Well, that is strange. Do you think they're here to intercept? We have made enemies. Perhaps they were those who wish to see us dead. H.Y.D.R.A, seems trouble follows you about. How are you holding up? You made a new friend. You're looking for the final temple. The quest is almost at an end. What are you feeling? Fear? Uncertainty? I wonder what will happen next. I must find my place in the world. Well, the Astral Phoenix is known to the world, and if you want work, we can turn this into enterprise. She points to the ports. It's a big world out there, Tak. A whole world of opportunity. Once we've done this, we'll be out of our contract for the Protectorate. We could use someone like you. We could use someone with your skill set. Tak rolls 14 insight. He sees her body language. There's trepidation as she's asking him this question. He can tell that she's asking the question of being a freelancer is a bit of a cover for something else. Like, you feel she's holding back. That is something I would consider greatly. There's a debt to a friend I must repay. A certain blacksmith I need to talk to, and maybe there's someone to look after you. She laughs and blushes even through her amber glowing tones and smiles. They take a moment to themselves. Ooh. Rakana and I take it easy as we wait 3 to 4 hours for our journey to reach Zenith. We're not bossed about by the Air Force, neither from Freegate and Thunderhelm, but we are watched as we dock. We're still an unusual bunch in an unusual ship. We disembark and Malachite mentions that we can get magical items as some of the crew file out and want to find a pub, which they find more exciting. The ship is berthed and we're free to maneuver. As we travel, Lionel intercepts us on his floating disc. Ah, you are back. Are you here to see the Professor? We tell him, and he nods slowly. I must inform you, HYDRA, that there's been a couple of inquiries into the school. Interesting figures are looking for the Professor. Some are wearing red robes, and I'm not sure that it was dyed with dye. Recognize snarls. Have you let any of them in? No, mercifully enough. We have the authority to turn them away. We also maintain the secrecy of the Professor's office, but some people have been talking to the Red Crest for the Guard Campus as far as where I'm aware, those conversations haven't gone anywhere. And Noble's asking questions. I remind him of the oath I swore to protect this university. He is assured if someone's shaken. But we're taken to the Professor. But before we take to the Professor, he asks for Zunis, who we introduce as an old friend. Rakana rolls Insight 21 and reads the Zunis of affirmations clearly. There's no nervous fidgeting. Energy as the bouncer back in Drummeth would have detected, but he clearly has something on his mind, maybe even up his sleeve. He doesn't roll Insight well, but when he does, he gets a lot out of it. Lionel looks at Rakana, looks at Azunis, looks at Rakana, looks at Azunis, and then his heart beats. You mean to tell me he's, Rakana nods. Right, well, the Professor will be most intrigued. I look around at the hungover students staring at their tomes, not really taking it in. There's nobody suspicious who may have been listening in on our conversations. Lionel takes us through the portal in his office to the Astral Library, to the now well-maintained vastness of this place. There's a lot of mess and blood following our battle. Things have been remodeled in the Professor's specs, as he's in his humanoid form, a wizened old man putting his glasses down on the table as we approach. Azunis walks up and says, full macule, gotcha! If it wasn't for Rakana, I would have pulled a fantastic prank upon you. What kind of prank? Well, I would have said fire to your library. Good. Great. I know. But alas, I wanted to see you after, well, the HYDRA told me about the return of the Draconians. I have seen them myself. Fought them. Hell, I was almost killed by them. They have technology that they should not have. That could shift the balance of power. He details to Azunis the metallic simulacrum of the Chandelier dragons. Azunis' cheer is a little dampened. It is good to see you. What news have you? We present our findings. This device Tak seems to be creating with the power of Volca seems to be some kind of compass. However, it's missing just one element. The element of air, to give it direction. He sighs. You raise a point about them being in the north. They could be there, random force. It will be dangerous. How do you wish to proceed? Rakana relays the information about the kobolds and the fortifications, as well as their secret entrance into the temple. Whether we trust them or not doesn't matter. We have little choice. You're all so powerful. But if this is where the Draconians have set up their base of operations, drawing their attention would be exceptionally unwise. Rakana looks at Volmak and observes his limp. When we met, he looked like a 20-year-old in a 70-year-old body. But now he really is a lot more doddery. Depending on what they have, we may need more support. Perhaps if you have allies you can call upon, that may be of use, but HYDRA, I must cancel you. This is indeed a stronghold of the Draconians. The priority is to get the artifact of the Temple of Air. There's a chance they may not understand what they have, but regardless, get doing the right thing. However you choose to pursue this, I'm sure it's the right one. Azunis offers up. Well, there's no harm in having a scouting mission, given the odd guard would fall. Maybe you'll find something and report back. Will you join us? That's Rakana. I was never one for strategy. What would you suggest? The professor offers aid. Projects whispers he'd like to make real. If we can help, it would be greatly appreciated. I wish to, at some stage, entreat the Crown of Ostergarth and try to convince them that maybe now is the time to broker a peace between the Protectorate and themselves in light of the draconian threat. I don't know. This is Azunis. Mortals typically seem to be at 1 inch of one of those throats. This is true, replies Volmak. But perhaps we can counteract the draconic variants. Besides, I was not the charismatic one. Azunis picks up what he's saying. Sorry, old chap. I'll probably aid the professor. Emphasizing those words as he speaks to Rakana. We'll catch up when you know what you want to do. Very well, says Volmak. In that case, you intend to take the secret passage that describes what this this place is in. Scree, the kobold, had made scribblings on our map detailing our path through the mountains, so that's what we'll do. Rakana asks if we should leave the other parts of the temples with Volmak, and we agree to split them. I shall guard this with my life, and I too shall guard with this with his life. Before we leave for the final temple, we decide we need to stop by Freygate and spend our hard-earned adventuring funds. I have bullets mostly, but any other session will be good. We end the session, and what may well be the penultimate one at that. Spoiler alert, it's not. We've got session 15, we've got more to do. So I'll quickly go through other things as well. We buy gear. I buy Alchemist's Fire, ball bearings, bullets, caltrops, and a spyglass. Meanwhile, Rakana upgrades Nero to studded armor. He looks like a mascot for Metallica. His biker leathers, he really does look better than the ground walkers. He's also recognizably a different creature, significantly bigger and brighter, with fiery orange feathers. We stop by the Beastmaster Fregate's hut, and we learn a bit more about Nero and rocks, and there's a bit of a vision here as the Beastmaster casts a spell to try and understand what Nero is. And Nero and Rakana are sort of brought into this vision, and it becomes clear that it seems as though he has some rock blood within him. Because Rakana talking to Klaus, the arsonist werebear, or the bear, who has the stats for werebear, with 4 uses of fireball per day, we've brought him along so he can prevent forest fires, which is awesome. I send over 6,000 gold pieces of folks to my funds, letting them know funds to my folks, and I love them, and if things go poorly, they must use these funds to secure their safety. And we decide our next move. Ignis pipes up when we get back on the Astral Phoenix. I'm not sure it's a great idea to take the Phoenix right up to the Dare Temple. Maybe we can drop you off further away, and you walk up to be quieter that way. So I dropped off at Little Water, and we stay the night before our ascent up the mountains to the secret entrance to the Temple of Air. The ship drives away from the waters of Frigate, a bustling city unaware of the threat to Elan, and how close we are to ending the Tempest. Excuse me. Ending the Tempest. Little Water is the opposite. Farms and vineyards line the neutral lands with livestock oblivious to the world around them, much like the people living their idyllic lives. Droth's factories belch smoke, with bloated airships floating around its walls. We go to Leaky Brillion. It's where we started, and it may be the last friendly place we ever go to. We take the table we first sat at. There's no revelers, but traders and residents. There's food, but I don't particularly feel hungry. And I ask how everyone's doing. Ragnar scouts around for red robe figures. There's no reptilian eyes, no red robes. At best, some snake eyes on a game played by a lady in a crimson gown. Satisfied, he orders a round of drinks. Halfway waiter brings out the stout as well as a menu of salted shrimp, vegetable stew, along with barley bread and onions. There's a cheese board for dessert. Ragnar orders food for Nero and Klaus, who, despite their intimidating sizes, are not the weirdest things the people of Little Water have seen. H.Y.D.R.A says, "Whatever it is we encounter out there, we shall defeat it together, and then we shall be legends." We exchange pleasantries. Ragnar says he's not had many friends, but I am glad to have our friendship, and there is no shame in not wanting to continue this fight. Anyone who wants to leave has done more than enough. He says this to Nero most of all, but we all feel a lump in our throats. I give Ragnar the sash from around my waist and H.Y.D.R.A my hat. These are gifts to remember me by should things go south. The sash, red as rage, is to embolden Ragnar. The hat, the symbol of authority and oppression, is given as a gift of peace to H.Y.D.R.A, a stranger in a strange land, about to become a hero, or perhaps a martyr. We enjoy the last few hours of nights as we rest. We factored in everything for obstacles and misdirection before travelling. When we travel, Ragnar scans for unusual tracks, while I tell the party that any aerial activity from the kingdom is routine, rather than tracking us. He rolls 16 survival. There's clearly work of scouting with man-made adjustments, rock with dye, twigs moved to make a path, that sort of thing. There's clearly more than traders and hunters here. Someone or something clearly doesn't want to be found past the main road. There's no real direction besides the northern barrier mountains. Well, we must be approaching their lair. Indeed. Once more into the breach, my friends. Once more. The climb ahead looks arduous but doable. We eventually make it up further with ease, and the directions that Scree has given us aren't bad, if not a one-to-one. With Ragnar's knowledge and survival also, we're able to make it as night falls. Eventually, we find ourselves in a clearing that looks over the rest of the world. We're a little bit higher up now. This clearing leads to an outcropping we happen to see if we crane our necks over and see the world below. Nero fidgets. Can you feel that? No. I feel something. Like something is calling to me. In what direction? Asks Ragnar. He points with his wing. Nero points with his wing to the east. There. It's close. We move closer, and we see a very, very large bird's nest. Let me shrink myself down now. There we go. Yeah, we've also got Klaus Bear here as well. I don't know if that's my thing is visible, but there. So, where am I now? Bird's nest with eggs the size of Ragnar. Nero looks down at them, gawping. What could this be? And why am I drawn to it? Do you have any memories of before the Druid? Before meeting you? Nero stops and thinks. Well, now you mention it. I don't. I remember being in the cage. I remember you coming to see me. Our adventures, but nothing before. This looks like a roc's nest. These are roc's eggs. But I'm an eagle. I've always been an eagle. If I was some sort of gigantic sky monster, I would surely know. This is what you've always been, Nero. Might have been raised an eagle, but you are a rock. Is there something else here? Is this my home? Maybe this is where you need to go. And what you need to tend to. Well, will you come with me, Reckoner? At the end of days, says Reckoner. Nero jumps on his shoulder. They walk along the branch and enter the nest. Nero's feather glistens blue, and his tail feathers turn a gentle red. His plumage sparkles, and he says to Reckoner, I feel strong, Reckoner. Stronger than I have ever been. What could this mean? You're doing what you're supposed to, and I'm here for you, always. Nero hops into the nest and feels something. Something I haven't felt since... There is an ominous sound. A shriek. A shape blots out the sun. The howl of an immense creature fills the air, and Nero looks up and then to Reckoner. I don't know what's happening, Reckoner. It's alright. Oh, shit! Reckoner says as the rock token flies overhead briefly. He rolls 18 perception. He thinks it's another eagle, but the eagle, as it swoops around, keeps growing in size, and it grows larger and larger, impossibly titanic, as it swoops down toward him. And with that, some of the rock makes its appearance because the token's too big. Holy shit! Reckoner yells again. His connection to Nero goes haywire, as if something's hijacking his mind. That's the rock, by the way. That's the map. That's how big it is. Yeah, it's a big boy. His connection to Nero goes haywire as if something's hijacking his mind. Who dares invade my nest? You shall regret the day you learn to stand upright, warm bloods. We're blown down by the sheer weight of the wings, bearing down with the wind. Klaus holds the rope, keeping Reckoner on the branch, holding it in his jaws. Wait, we're here for my friend. Please allow us to explain. Food for the dogs. How interesting. I shall consume you and your friend with this insolence. Reckoner rolls 17 survival. He remembers what we can do to help with animals such as this. No eye contact, adopt a social stance, generally appear not as a threat. Nero is given the time to stand. Please, my friend is here to help me. They're changing and I don't know why, nor do I understand the draw of this place. We need naught from this place, only answers. Please do not harm us. The rock's wings buffet, and it lands, watching him. You are something different. You are something old, familiar. It moves towards Reckoner, It moves towards Reckoner, extending a talon toward Nero. Do not harm this one. This is Nero's quest. Let it play out. He commands Reckoner to us. The rock's talon taps Nero, and its energy pulses through him to Reckoner like a conduit of raw elemental magic. Almost as if he's shorted out, as he sees nothing but blackness. He feels the air wrap around his body as he falls into abyss. Why is he not flying if the sensation is like the beast at the Beastmaster's shack? He tries to focus on Nero, but also let it happen. He wants to come back to Nero. He needs to help him. Just then, in his vision, Nero swoops down to him and tries to grab him. 8 in dexterity. Another eagle approaches rapidly, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If you must go, leave me, snarls Ragnar. No, I'm not letting you go. You freed me from one cage. Let me free you from this one. The eagle continues its descent on its prey. No, I'm done running. I am Nero, and I shall be free. For a moment he's let go, and he's falling through the air as the other rock comes towards them. He hits something with a thud, and lands on something immense and alive. Ragnar is on the back of a rock, and the other one coming towards him. A voice comes into his head. I understand now, Ragnar. I understand what I am, or what I was. Hold on, I'll get us out of here. He swings to the side, and we see now the illusion was reality. Nero and the rock are here, and they are fighting. And we learn once per day, Nero may transform into a rock for 1 hour, having unlocked an ancestral memory. Let my kin and I go, we mean you no harm, commands Nero. I shall allow you to leave this time, but do not intrude upon my nest again. Nero reverts to his original form and whispers to Ragnar, it's time to go now. Yes. Yes, it is. The half-orc murmurs and walks along the branch with Nero in tow. We are allowed to leave unmolested, with Nero breathing hard. There's permanent flecks of blue on his feather, with a rusty red on his tail feathers glistening like newly born embers. I know this is scary. It is for all of us, but we're here. One and all of us. I meant it. I wouldn't have left you when I said to the end, until the end. And you have given me freedom, Ragnar. I don't know what has happened to me, but mayhap if we finish this quest of ours, we can find out who I am. Together. Indeed, friend. We're together. To the end of days. He's about to lift a hand for a high five, but hesitates as Noro tries not to blow his arm off with the power. Go and breathe, Nero. And Ragnar. Perhaps if one of my kind has chosen one of you warmbloods as a companion, as a friend, perhaps I have misjudged some of you. Now go, for I changed my mind, mutters the rock. We leave per Ragnar's suggestions. We make our way to the temple's entrance as Nero turns his head back to look at the rock. Thank you, Greybeak. You didn't have to do that. The rock settles down in its nest. I know. There are few of us left. Go forth. And with that, we continue up the mountain. Night begins to fall. It takes some time, but we finally make our way to a plateau, following screeds of ice. We find ourselves, as we climb up a metal structure in front of us, hearing a noise that sounds deeply unnatural. But there doesn't appear to be anything moving around us. It's dark, unbelievably so, and it's also foggy. There's a hatch before us, just as Scree promised, so sounds of activity coming to the southwest. Ragnar casts coming with nature. He feels a strong connection to the element of air, despite the oppressive nature of the industry here. There's undead to the north, for some strange reason. And this is where we are now. Oh no! I like to make sure that we've got the full name, since this is a map. But that's what we've got. There we go. If that appears nice and clearly. So this is where we are. This reminds me of like Fear Factory from Donkey Kong. So just thought I'd put it there. I crawl inside and knock a crate over with Stealth 6. Inside is refined chandelier. The boxes are marked with some Ostagarthian trading companies, including those in Drummeth. They're the same as the ones in the Sewer King's lair, but something else, unfortunately, clicks. Some of these subsidiaries are mined by the Hummel estate. So I signal to the others. I mutter, bloody traitor. I didn't like get my hands on him. Ragnar could sway, sees a figure and tells the Tegavria. It looks like it's like looking at a glass of milk. I can't see the contrast. Ragnar approaches with his axe and can't see much through the fog. He approaches some of the machinery and goes, "Yes, yes," to the contraption. There's no response, so he deems it safe. Reckonar lights a torch and looks over the cliff edge to see if anything's hiding. Perception 15 tells him no, only sheer cliff and smog. I look at the machine. It's similar to that in a port. If you spin the wheel, it closes a gate. It uses chains and a rack to do so. It's unknown if there's another one, or it corresponds to where the next one is. We open the door. We see a world we've never seen before. The walls are all metal. It reminds me of a workshop, but there's nobody here, only strange weapons at the side of the benches, with shelves of paper scattered around, along with a chair. And there's a strange screen that's entirely black, almost like a mirror. So that would be upstairs. Ah! Where attack is, it's a front attack on that desk. So I think like I guess like oh no. What's happened? There we are. So I guess like in our world it would be like a television screen, I'm guessing. But I'm not entirely sure. So it's always like a mirror. There's a couple of doors that we see on the other side, and Reckonar views the weapons. They're from designs that, in fact, hang on a second, I have to move my character here. So we'll just move my character, move there. Views the weapons. They're from designs he's not seen before, but uniformly made to be something big for... We'll get there in the end. But uniformly made to be for something that has fewer or more digits than him. They're wickedly sharp and much, much bigger than him. I roll investigation. They're reminiscent of weapons that we've seen before, including the scimitar curve, but these are no longer using such a design, rather using it as baseline. This is innovation, a new idea. They appear to be dangerous, yes, but it's more than they're designed to inflict pain and agony when striking a target, more so than killing. Reckonar inspects them. They're meant to dig deep into the flesh and skewer and bleed before offering a killing blow. He's not sure he can even pick some of them up, as if the handle is replaced by metal vines. It does seem like there's chandelier on the vine-like handle, based on Reckonar's investigation of 14. Kind of like a granite top with the sparkles. He tries to pick up a weapon, but he struggles to lift it, let alone hold it effectively. We read the documents, and Tack reads in Draconian. It talks of anatomy, studies of the humanoid body. I don't quite follow. The sciences aren't what I follow, but this... It shows the exact nervous system of a humanoid. I'm not quite sure. I look at the diagram with 21 investigation. There's an eerie similarity to the Hollow King, especially the incisions toward the skull, which look like a crown. I look at the jet black mirror on the wall, and I see my own reflection in it. But it's not designed as a mirror. There's nothing attached to it or vice versa, it's just part of the wall. There's no switches or wheels in it. It's inert. Whenever it is, in the back of my head, it does seem oddly familiar. I can't place my finger on the sense of familiarity. Tank translates the label on the doors. North is primary observation. To production in the upper right one, and to the resource drop-off and collection below it. I open the door to primary observation. There's a chair, and nobody seems to be sat in it. So, and a bubble window at the end of it. I look out. There's a soupy mess of mist outdoors. Immense shape goes past, but I think it's wings. It orderly comes to a stop in the air, waits for a moment in time, and then moves in the other direction. Reckonar and Tack are as equally as alien. Primary airship operations. Does that mean anything to you, Commissar? I roll 32 investigation. This seems to be some kind of dockmaster's controls for loading and unloading cargo, ramps, pulleys and cranes. I open the door, which is the same as the other right one. Production and processing. I also check that the bulbous device that can alarm by alighting a generated sound. It's dormant now the wires powering it have been destroyed, because I've cut the wires, so I recognise there was an alarm here, but I managed to figure out how that works. And there's some sort of movement over here as well. There was I think like a dragon that was stopping and then turned around. Yes, I think it might have been a chandelier dragon. I mentioned there was Immense shape goes past, yes, we're not sure. So it could have been a Chandelier Dragon, but it could have been something else. Who knows? It might have been a crane, maybe. Who knows? We go through the door, and it's hot here. It's like the forges of Dromoth, or indeed Takaria's blacksmithing back home. The stairs in the corridor. Rakanai goes to the stairs, and he can hear the roaring of fire bellows, as well as a hammer smashing into metal. Around the corner, he hears a clattering sound, unending and unchanging. You can also hear a clanking sound of metal being deposited into a pile as if it's being spilled. You can also hear noise like a noisy insect to the north, a rhythmic buzzing that's unlike anything he's ever heard. Rakanai relays the noise to me, and I struggle to understand it with a 12 intelligence check. We open the door to the foundry. Here. It's nice to have some colour as well. Oh no, I'll shut that down. So where am I? It appears to be taking stamped metal heated up to ridiculous temperatures that we feel as we're blistering, as if we're blistering to. There's bellows with magically inscribed mirrors that create fire and turn it into something malleable. There's a mechanism that's stamping metal on a conveyor belt, and that's a mystery for the next session, because that's where we ended. So we've just come here. So we really want to either go up the stairs or I think that's a wall there, so we want to go down this door here to the south. But I think this might be the best one. But I'm just thinking now, because that to me looks like a sort of production area, so if this is disrupted, is anyone going to come looking through here? I'm just thinking about going upstream. But who knows? Who knows? But this would be a good stop to whatever they're doing. But we'll have to see next session. Let's see. So we'll find out what goes on next thing. We would play again, but one of the players couldn't make it to session 51, so we thought let's hold that for the time being, and we'll play it again at the time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I think session 51 is probably going to take place all in this place, and then who knows what happens afterwards, but we shall see. But either way, I'm very much looking forward to it. Anyway, thank you for so much watching. Take care, and yes, apologies for the format that we've had to do it. It's again, I think it's because I'm using a compressor on OBS, so that's affected other things as well. But we shall see. All right, thank you for watching. Take care.